Hello, my name's Caleb Parkin and I am a poet, and like lots of us, I'm fighting my way through my wild lockdown hair, so I'll do my best with that. I get very excited about art and how inspiring it can be for our writing. And this is the first of 3 video workshops where we're going to talk about ways that visual art can inspire our own creative writing. Now, visual art can mean things like painting, photography, collage, sculpture, and while I say it's visual, which means with the eyes, we could also sometimes walk around it, smell it, taste it, yeah? So it's all kinds of different things. This might mean artworks from places like the Bristol Museum and Art Gallery, who I'm working with, and it could mean any other art gallery too. And these activities are based around our Max Literacy Award project. Session 1 today then involves that scary stuff on the wall, which is what our group called, we came up with during one of our sessions. We're going to come up with expert names. We're then going to make a gallery statement. I'll explain how that works when we get to it. It'll be strange. And then a takeaway task, if you'd like it, to create an expert profile. And when I get to these activities, I will explain them and let you know what materials you need so you can go and grab them. And then you can pause me while you do each activity. So let's get started on making some expert names. For our warm-up activity today, what we're going to do is create some expert names. To do this, you will need some food packaging. Now just go for cardboard food packaging, don't go for anything messy and horrible, and only get it from your own rubbish and recycling, and check with an adult around, all right? But just clean cardboard food packaging. If you don't have any of those immediately, see what you can use, and you might want to start collecting some. And the other option is to look online as well, and you can search for food packaging, and then you can start to collect words and write them on a piece of paper. So there's a couple of ways of doing it. If you need to pause me, that's fine. Then you can pause now, go and start collecting those. I will be here when you return and explain the rest of it in a moment. That was the pause. If you're ready to continue, then what I'd like you to do is this. Go through those food packaging things that you've got and cut out the most delicious words, the words that you think are really wonderful, especially if you think they sound a bit like a name. Lots of food packaging actually does use names, of course. So start cutting them out, the really delicious words, okay? You might want to pause me again while you do that, or you can keep listening and do it all at once. Then, with all of those cut up words, those found words, as we like to say in poetry terms, then start putting them together and create some combinations of 2. Look out for things that sound like a name. Now, I've had a go at this, and I'm going to cut a picture of this into this film. So I've got the following names: Bakewell Shocker, Knightsbridge Schweppes, Bagan Twinings, Rivita Dorset, and Margarita Clicquot. I think Margarita Clicquot is my favourite. If you're not sure if they sound namey, then you can try introducing yourself. So you can say, hello, my name is Margarita Clicquot. Pleased to meet you. It's definitely my favourite one. So once you've done that, come up with, up to 10 options, depending on how many food words you've managed to find. See which is your favourite. And then you can add doctor or professor or something else that makes you feel really important and super smart like you are, yeah? So add that to the beginning. After that, you can add you're from the museum of something, right? So that can be the museum of something you're really into. Are you really into Pokemon Go, right? Are you really into BMXs? Are you really into dolphins? Whatever it might be, you can be from that museum. So I'm going to say, I am Dr. Margarita Clicquot, and I'm from the Museum of Terriers. I have my 2 terriers sat here with me. Okay, and that is your expert name. And when we move into our virtual gallery that we're going to make today, then you can keep that expert name with you, and it'll empower you to comment on all the art and do amazing writing and just be your general fabulous self. So I'll be back in a second and we're going to talk about how to make a gallery statement using a thing called metaphoraging. And what you might want to do is grab a load of magazines and books and catalogues and anything else you've got around. The more different the better. See if you can get 5 or 6 of those, and we're going to work with those in the next activity. So see you in a sec. When you go into a museum or art gallery, often there is pieces of writing on the wall, and they're there to sort of guide you through the art or the objects that they have in that big room that is a museum or art gallery. So we're going to create our own one of those. Sometimes museums have pieces of writing that you can't see that say how they'd like things to be in their museum or art gallery. So we can think about what we're making here a bit like that. We're going to use the books, the magazines, the catalogues, whatever you found. What we're going to do is we're going to use these statements. Our museum looks like, our museum sounds like, our museum feels like, our museum tastes like, and our museum smells like, in whatever order you want. It's a good invitation for us to work with our senses, which is always a good thing as a writer. We use all of our senses. Using each of those statements, you're going to start with them, and then you're going to flick through the various publications, the bits of print stuff you've got here. So I've got this book, Dinotopia, and also this one, which is nice, painting with words, which is very helpful. I've got a gardening catalogue here as well. Yeah, and then you're going to look for the ends of those statements in those publications. So our museum, for example, our museum sounds like much time for my notebook. All right, so that's a great one. Kind of seems to me about writing. And then you switch which publication you're using. Our museum tastes like the threshold of the night. That's good, isn't it? Our museum tastes like the threshold of the night. And you do that for each of them. See if you can get 3 or 4, so you've got some options, and then you can choose them, and you can make a piece of writing that is about 10 or more lines. Here is one in Blue Peter style that I made earlier, using the stuff that I've got here. Our museum looks like flowers and delicious fruits. Our museum looks like the shadows for rats and voles. Our museum sounds like your concept of big and small, the only choir school in Wales. Our museum tastes like a winner will undoubtedly emerge, tastes like where it all came from. Our museum feels like whatever takes your fancy. It feels like he calls them samurai. I've seen a samurai suit in a museum a few times. Our museum smells like words hiding inside. Our museum smells like termite engineering. So it will help you come up with some really strange and unusual images, and then you'll have a gallery statement for your imaginary gallery, your imaginary museum. So I hope you have a lot of fun with that, and I'll be back in a second to introduce the takeaway task. Okay, so by now, hopefully, you've got your expert name from the food packaging. You've also got your gallery statement, the strange series of statements using the found books, publications, catalogues that you've got around, or using Wikipedia if you want to go that way as well. And now we're going to come up with an expert profile. So give a bit more detail to your expert name character. What I'd like you to do is imagine that your expert has got a social media profile on something like Facebook or something else like that. Okay, and I'd like you to come up with them. You're going to put their name and the museum that they're from. So mine was Professor Margarita Clicquot from the Museum of Terriers. Then I'd like you to create a portrait. How you do that is up to you. I'm imagining that Margarita Clicquot has purple sparkly hair, which I might do with wool, for example, and an excellent flowery jacket to look smart in the Museum of Terriers. I'd like you to write where they go to work, and this can be anywhere you like because it's imaginary. So Margarita Clicquot works on an indestructible airship or zeppelin that travels around the world, meeting terriers, learning about them, doing things of that kind. And then I'd like you to write their writer superpower or arty superpower. So, for example, Margarita Clicquot can write 1,000 words per minute on any surface. And then you'll have this profile. You can make them on a sheet of paper so that you get to know your expert character a bit more. So that's their name and where they're from. That's a portrait of them in whatever medium you like. It could be a collage, it could be a pencil drawing, watercolour, whatever you want to do. Where they work, and that can be anything you like. It can be a dome under the water. They can, work in a tree, in the sky, whatever you want. And their special power. What can they do better than anyone else? Thanks for watching today. The second video workshop obviously follows on, and I look forward to seeing you there, and enjoy the writing. In that second video, by the way, we will be searching online for pictures that we like, and we'll be writing a 10-line poem that involves paying very close attention to one piece of artwork. And we'll also be thinking about frames, those things that go round artworks if they're paintings often, and thinking about our own frames. So I look forward to seeing you there.